Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles and on this episode we're reviewing AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door. Now it's, if you haven't seen any of my shows before, we grade everything on a 1 to 5 scale, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. We're going to do a little bit after every match. Well, not every match because some were not announced. I did a preview show a couple days ago with my predictions, and as we go down the card, I'm going to tell you which ones I got right, which ones I got wrong. There's a couple matches that were not announced before when I made the predictions. Also, a couple matches that have changed since I made the predictions. With that being said, let's jump right into this. We're going to go through these probably a little faster than I normally would, just because of the number of matches on the card, and I don't really want this to be a 3-hour video. First up, we get a QT Marshall and Aaron Solo going up against Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto. I thought this was an excellent way to start the show. The crowd was into it right from the beginning. Yoshihashi and Goto have a great following in America. This was a great match to have them come out to. Awesome way, and this was on the pre-show, by the way. Awesome way to start the pre-show. Show how excited the crowd is. Maybe get people to pick up and buy the show that weren't going to. Goto and Yoshihashi pick up the win. I'm giving this match a 4. I thought it was really solid. It definitely sold what we were going to see later on. Now, coming off of that, our next match for the pre-show, Lance Archer versus Nick Camarda. Again, this was a good match, not quite as good as the first match. This is more what I would expect from a pre-show match. A little bit lumbering at times. Archer did pick up the win. I'm going to give this one a 3. Not much to see here, really, to be honest with you, and not really surprised with the outcome. Both of the first 2 matches, the outcome was pretty much already there before they even started the match. Next up, and again, this is on the pre-show, we get Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee going up against El Desperado and Camarda representing LIJ. Or I'm sorry, not LIJ, Suzuki-gun. I have LIJ on my head for some reason. I was a little bit surprised at this match, being as that they're teasing a Swerve and Keith Lee breaking up. I thought this would be an easy win for Desperado and Camarda. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately because I like all the guys involved, Swerve and Keith Lee pick up the win here. A little bit of an underwhelming match in my opinion. I'm giving this a 3. Afterwards, we seen Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs basically challenging Swerve and Keith Lee, saying they think they're the best tag team, but they haven't beat them. I think that's where we're going to see the split. One of them will probably join Team Taz, and if I'm going to bet, I'd probably say it would be Swerve. Now, our last show of the pre-show, the free show, whatever you want to call it, we get Max Caster, Billy Gunn, Colton Gunn, and Austin Gunn going up against Yuya Uemura, Alex Coughlin, Kevin Knight, and the DKC, all representing the LA Dojo. This is the first match I predicted on the show. This is where we got to see our Danhausen appearance, which he came on the Tron and showed a video for Ass Boys songs, which made Colton and Austin leave the ring and go for it, leaving basically Billy and Max Caster to go up against the 4 people from the dojo by themselves. Alas, it wasn't that big of a disadvantage because Max Caster and Billy Gunn pick up the win for their team. I picked this wrong. I thought the LA Dojo was going to win because of shenanigans like that. I'm going to give this a 4, though. I thought it was fun. I enjoyed it. Billy Gunn was a stud in this. He absolutely helped these just being in the ring with a guy like that for all these younger talents is going to make them better. So far on my predictions, I'm 0-1. I got the first one wrong. Now we're going to roll into the main show, and like I said, I'm going to go through these kind of quickly. We got Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki going up against Eddie Kingston, Wheeler Yuta, and Shota Umino. I really enjoyed this match. This was an awesome match. I actually thought this match was better than I imagined it could be, and I like a lot of the guys involved. I thought that there was going to be a lot more gaga in the match, where there really wasn't. It was almost a straightforward match. I rather enjoyed this. Shota Umino is going to be a star. Unfortunately, he came out on the wrong end of the match here. The team of Jericho, Guevara, and Suzuki pick up the win. I picked this one correct. I'm giving this a 5, so I'm sitting at 1-1, 1 right and 1 wrong for my predictions. Next up, we get the FTR going up against Roppongi Vice and going up against Great-O-Khan and Jeff Cobb for both the IWGP Tag Team Championship and the Ring of Honor Championship, winner take all. I thought this was a really, really good match again. 2 of them right back to back, 2 awesome matches to start the pay-per-view. I kind of liked, and I don't know if it was a legitimate injury, but I tend to believe it wasn't. Dax Harwood gets a shoulder injury and then comes back as the conquering hero in the match. FTR does pick up the win here, thus building and cementing their claim to being the best tag team in wrestling right now. As of now, they've held the NXT Championship, SmackDown Championship, Raw Championship, AAA, AEW, Ring of Honor, and now IWGP. I mean, that's a resume already, so you're hard pressed to argue anyone else. Maybe the Young Bucks are up there with them, but it's very hard to not say that right now at this moment, FTR is not the best tag team in the world when they got 3 world championships, the Ring of Honor, AAA, and IWGP, and they represent for 3 different companies. I'm giving this one a 5. I was right on my prediction here as well, so now I'm sitting at 2 right, 1 wrong for the night. After that, we get a Juice Robinson and Jay White promo, basically saying that Juice is the U.S. champion. The match tonight doesn't count because he never lost to the U.S. championship. I kind of thought this was going to foreshadow him interfering in the match, but he didn't. But it was a nice little segment either way. A good way to remind us that Juice Robinson is now part of Bullet Club. Good promo. Which leads us to the next match. A Fatal 4-Way for the All-Atlantic World Championship. We get Clark Connors, who replaced Tomohiro Ishii, versus Malachi Black, versus Miro, versus Pac. When I picked this initially, Ishii was in the match. I didn't pick him to win, so I'm going to count my prediction still. If I would have picked Ishii, I may have thrown this out. But since he wasn't who I picked to win anyway, I don't think him not being in the match would change my opinion, which it didn't. I honestly felt the same way going into this. This was a pretty good match. It was good. There was a little bit at times where it slowed down. I didn't think it was quite as good as the 2 matches before this or the match after it. A little bit of a lull. And it's not anything that they did wrong. It just, they didn't get that extra gear that other matches did in the show. To my surprise, Pac picked up the win here. I got that one totally wrong. I thought it was going to be Miro. So I got 2 right, 2 wrong. Pac picks up the win. I'm giving this match a 4. Next up, we get a match that also was changed. 2 matches changed back to back. Originally supposed to be the Bucks and El Phantasmo and Hikuleo versus Sting, Darby Allin, Shingo Takagi, and Hiromu Takahashi. Hiromu couldn't fly to the show because of a fever, so it it changed to the Bucks and LP going up against Shingo, Sting, and Darby, the dudes with attitude as they were calling them. I thought this was a fantastic match. Sting is an absolute madman. I mean, we seen the beginning of the match, and I almost was really disappointed because they teased Sting coming down from the rafters, which I don't ever want to see again, and you know why if you're a wrestling fan, why I wouldn't want to see that. It's just not worth the risk. But lights go out, Sting standing on top of the entrance, and does a crossbody off the entrance on the other team. I mean, the guy's in his 50s, and he's insane. He's a crazy person. I really enjoyed this match. I thought it was awesome. I liked the Bucks back in kind of Bullet Club Bucks form, where they wrestled more as they did. Not that they're that much different now, but they did more of the Bullet Club tactics. They bent more to what LP was doing, which kind of made sense because it was for one night only and they were in the Bullet Club again. I thought this was a good match. The face Sting no-selling super kicks was amazing, and Stinger being Sting. Sting, any match that Sting wrestles now, he's just awesome in it. His team picks up the win. Sting, Shingo Takagi, and Darby Allin. I got this one wrong, so I'm sitting at 2-3 on the predictions. 2 right, 3 wrong. I'm giving this one a 5. I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it. Next up, we get a promo in the back where we're going to see Shota Umino talking. And before he can do it, we get Matt Menard and Angelo Parker with Chris Jericho come in. Jericho ends up throwing a fireball at him. So basically they're gonna build that feud more now with that. So just a little segment to build everything going forward. I kind of hope that Shota sticks around and hopefully, if it was up to me, he'd be part of the Blackpool Comic Club because I think he's just awesome and I think he would fit perfectly. Next up, we get for the AEW Women's Championship, Thunder Rosa versus Toni Storm. This match, to me, of the main card, I think this was my least favorite match, and it's no knock on either one of these girls or women. I love Thunder Rosa. I love Toni Storm. I think they're both really good talents. I just don't think that this match, first off, I don't think the build was great for it. I kind of been underwhelmed with Thunder Rosa's World Championship run. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't feel like even like Nyla Rose's did it or Hikaru Shida's or even Britt Baker's run. It kind of has been a little bit of an underwhelming run, and I know she's having good matches, and I know this is going to sound bad being it's the only women's match on the card, but it's not because it's the women's match. It's just that this match didn't feel as important, and it didn't feel like it lived up to the hype like the other matches did. Thunder Rosa does pick up the win. I was correct on my picks on that, putting me to 3 right, 3 wrong. I'm giving this match a 4, which it sounds better than what I was saying about it, but when you stack it up against the rest of the card, it's not quite as good as any of the main show matches. There are a couple matches on the pre-show that I liked it better than, but out of the main show card, this was my least favorite match. Next up for the U.S. Championship, IWGP U.S. Championship, we get Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy. This was an interesting styles clash in my opinion. I really enjoyed this match. I thought it was really fun. I think Orange Cassidy showed that he has that other gear. I think that Will Ospreay showed something else in himself, playing into the absurdity of wrestling Orange Cassidy. There were a lot of great spots in this match. Just a fun match to have. Ospreay picked up the win on this. I was right on that. I'm going to give this one. I got 4 right now and 3 wrong. The ship is getting better. I'm giving this a 4. I thought it was a really good match. I enjoyed what I seen. I'd like to see him run it back. I think it'd be fun. Afterwards, we see Aussie Open come out. They try to attack Orange Cassidy, which brings out Roppongi Vice. Then we get one of the big surprises of the night. Shibata's in the building, and he comes out and he's helping Orange Cassidy and Roppongi Vice. Afterwards, we see Orange Cassidy give Shibata his glasses. So I'm guessing they're setting up a match for the U.S. title between Shibata and Ospreay somewhere down the line, which I'm all for. I'm really happy to see that. Like I said, giving this a 4, I thought it was good. Next up, we get Zack Sabre Jr. going up against Bryan Danielson's hand-picked opponent. And the second surprise, which I don't know how much of a surprise it is because a lot of people thought this guy was going to be the surprise anyway. And I do believe that Dave Meltzer said that he was in the building before the show started. So a little bit of the surprise was taken away. Did not make it any less special. Claudio Castagnoli, formerly known as Cesaro, shows up here and shows out. I mean, the crowd went apeshit nuts for him. The crowd was amazing all through the card, by the way. They didn't let down. They were cheering. They were ecstatic, and people wonder why they go back to Chicago so often. This is why. It transfers well. It's infectious. They make you at home care as much as they do because they're cheering so well. Claudio looked amazing like he always has. I feel like this is one of those situations where we just got another amazing talent on the AEW roster, which is really going to help right now with all of the injuries they have. Claudio's going to be penciled right into either any division he wants to as a championship contender. Claudio picks up the win to my surprise. I picked this wrong. I thought Zack Sabre Jr. would win to set up the eventual Bryan Danielson-Zack Sabre Jr. match. I still give it a 5. I thought it was amazing. So I'm sitting at 4 right and 4 wrong, batting .500. Which I said on my predictions, I think that there's going to be a lot of these I get wrong. And obviously I have. I've got 4 wrong out of 8 so far. Now next up, we get the Fatal 4-Way for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Jay White defending his belt against Adam Cole, Kazuchika Okada, and Hangman Adam Page. I thought this was a really good match. I thought it was solid. I enjoyed it. There was a lot of little things here. Cole turning on Jay White. Okada being Okada. The fans just absolutely eating up everything he did. Adam Page proving he belonged in that stratosphere with 3 other talents. And it's funny to say this because Adam Page just came off a lengthy run as an AEW champion. But in my opinion, Okada and Jay White are both ahead of him in wrestlers. And Adam Cole's already built a bigger, how should I say, overall resume than not Jay White. Well, he has built one as big as Jay White, comparable. The guy actually I thought was out of place a little bit was Adam Page. His resume isn't as great as the rest of the guys. Not saying I don't like Adam Page, but he absolutely showed why he deserves to be in the conversation with these guys. We get to the end of the match, and this took a little bit off of my overall rating here. Adam Cole seems to slump down on a Rainmaker, which he may have been injured, he may not have been. Jay White hits a sling blade on Okada, but then goes and pins Adam Cole. There's a lot said, and at the time that I'm recording this, I'm basically recording this less than 10 minutes after the show ended, is when I started recording. So I don't know right now if it was a legitimate injury, if that was a planned finish, but it looked wonky either way. And it looked like Adam Cole was trying to kick out. So, I don't know. It just came off wonky. Jay White does pick up the win. I have to knock a point off of here. I'm giving this a 4. I was correct in my prediction because I thought Jay White would retain. I'm going to give So for the night so far, I got 5 right and 4 wrong. Last but not least, the main event of the evening for the interim AEW World Championship. Tanahashi versus Jon Moxley. Hiroshi Tanahashi absolutely gets a hero's welcome. Jon Moxley gets a new, similar entrance, but he's more on the ground level. I'm guessing because William Regal didn't feel like walking that far. That's what would be my opinion on it. This was amazing. I really enjoyed this match. I had high hopes for this match. This is a match I've been looking forward to ever since they've been first saying that Moxley and Tanahashi might wrestle each other. I think Jon Moxley, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, is the best wrestler in the world right now. I think there's an argument to be made for a couple other guys, Kazuchika Okada, Jay White, even Tanahashi here. But I do think that Jon Moxley, for how he could seamlessly go between being a deathmatch wrestler, wrestling in AEW and wrestling that style, wrestling New Japan and wrestling that style, all while being a fan favorite everywhere he goes. I think Jon Moxley may be one of the best wrestlers, if not the best wrestler in the world right now. This was an absolutely awesome match. A lot of chain wrestling. Moxley gets busted open from a sling blade and starts bleeding all over the place. Jon Moxley, he's going to bleed. He loves to bleed. Moxley does eventually pick up the win on this one. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I'm giving it a 5. I had the correct pick on this, which puts me at 6 and 4 for the night. So overall back at 60%. I'll take it. Afterwards, we get the Jericho Appreciation Society running down, which then brings us out Eddie Kingston, Santana and Ortiz, Wheeler Yuta, and last but not least, Claudio Castagnoli. And Claudio clears a ring, gets Angelo Parker in the swing, which is a better looking swing than he did earlier against Zack Sabre Jr., but part of the Zack Sabre Jr. swing was he was selling that his arm was hurt. We get a little bit of friction between Claudio and Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston spitting at him. Moxley's laughing the whole time. Kind of weird that I kind of wish they just would have went off of the air with Moxley and Tanahashi shaking hands. They really didn't need to do this to hype up Wednesday's show. I understand why they did it. I don't know that I would have done it myself. I don't think it was needed. I think they could have just left the way they did. But I'm not the person in charge. With all that being said, I thought this was a fantastic show. The pacing was much better than the last AEW pay-per-view. I did not feel burnt out at any point during this. Everything seemed to move quickly. Everything seemed to go right along. And it was over 4 hours, so it wasn't that it was that much shorter than the last time. It just feels like it was paced out better, in my opinion. Overall, I'm going to give the show a 5. I thought it was amazing. Hopefully, they're going to do more Forbidden Door type shows. I know Tony Khan has said he'd like to do it more often. He'd like to make it a yearly thing. Hopefully the next Forbidden Door show is in Japan, and we get to see it with the New Japan production values, because it's a different production. It looks more like they cover it more like a sport, and it looks a little bit different. And I personally love the New Japan production style and the way that they present their shows. So hopefully the next quote-unquote Forbidden Door show will be somewhere like Korakuen Hall or the Tokyo Dome, and we get to see the New Japan version. And then maybe we get 2 a year every year. Maybe, there's always going to be AEW talent in the G1 from now on. There'll always be some kind of AEW presence in Wrestle Kingdom. There'll always be New Japan presence in Double or Nothing. I just think it'll be awesome going forward. But with all that being said, it is getting pretty late here. I am pretty tired, mostly because of how late it is. But it was an amazing show. If you made it to the end, please smash that like button, share the video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed before. And if you made it all the way to the end, put Moxley down in the comments for Jon Moxley being an absolute stud and winning the championship, the interim championship for AEW. With all that being said, my name is George Coles, and this has been my review of AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door.